So I'm going to tell you guys about how my grandma became an honorary Pennsylvanian, an NEPAer, as we would say. She is actually buried at Goldsboro Lake, not buried, but we threw her ashes onto the frozen tundra that was the Goldsboro Lake. So she might have floated for a little while. But today I have on my grandma's ring. I always wear a piece of jewelry or something from her. Normally when my anxiety is really bad and I don't want to go anywhere, I always try to put something on of hers to kind of give me a little extra boost. But when my grandma first moved out here to PA, I grew up in Goldsboro in NEPA. I live in Scranton now. When my grandma came out here, she was suffering from Alzheimer's and she had had a stroke, so she actually came out here for us to become her caregivers. And, you know, when you think about Black labor, being a caregiver is something that really affects our community at a higher rate than other communities. We have higher rates of Alzheimer's due to cardiovascular disease, which puts us at higher risk due to having diabetes. There's a genetic variant that Black people have that makes them predisposed to have dementia and Alzheimer's. Latino people as well, we have the highest rate of Alzheimer's. So there was this connection to the Black community that I didn't want to have, that I didn't know that we had, which was a connection with not just being a caregiver, but also caring for somebody and a family member who had Alzheimer's or was suffering from a form of dementia. It's something that bonded me to my community in a way that I didn't expect. And when I was doing more research about it, due to me being a social worker, and I was in school at the time, so I was learning about, you know, how to care for older people, how to care for family members, learning a lot about burnout. Didn't help me because I burnt myself out really fast, but it also taught me about the social net that we have here in our area that is really, really big, from the professors and different nonprofits who helped me out with information and supplies, our American Legion who helped us out with medical supplies and different things. There are so many people in this area who were so amazing and kind that I didn't think to ask or even didn't think would want to be involved and would really want to help. Being a caregiver and also being a Black caregiver puts you at higher risk for a lot more things too. We're more likely to have bad health outcomes. We're more likely then to suffer from cardiovascular disease as we might be taking care of somebody who is suffering from that. We normally give 40 plus hours a week to our family member or friend who we are caring for, and we have a bigger financial impact than our white counterparts when we're also caring for people. I love being from here. I talk a lot about being a military brat, and so NEPA was my last home, was the last place that we moved, and it was a place that I fell in love with. So it was really such an honor for me to be able to have my grandma here with me in her last year of her life. She was my best friend, and I used to talk to her every single day. I'm a Navy veteran, and so when I was stationed in other places, I just remember always wanting to talk to my grandma on the phone and get the gossip about, you know, what was going on and what was going on in the home and who was talking to who, what man was in somebody else's apartment, okay, getting all the tea, and then being able to have her with me. And even though she wasn't fully there, there was moments of clarity that I was able to talk to her. And it was so nice being able to raise my daughter in a way that I was so envious of the other people who are from Scranton and from this area who have their grandparents right next to them, who grandparents live down the street, and who they're able to see their aunts and uncles and things all the time, because growing up, I lived on the East Coast and my grandma lived on the West Coast. So even though it was for a short amount of time, and even though it was for amount of time that was hard, it was still something that was so beautiful and had such a big impact on me. And so I'm so honored all the time when I get to wear something that reminds me of her. And I'm, so happy that I got the chance to be able to kind of understand what it's like to be a caregiver from the inside, and being a social worker and being able to see from the outside, from the big side, but also knowing exactly the impact that people are having, and also knowing the impact that the Black community, that it has on the Black community, how much of an impact it has on us financially, and how a lot of our history and a lot of the things that we own and keepsakes and heirlooms and houses a lot of those things end up getting lost in the shuffle of caring for our family members and taking care of people, having to downsize their houses, having to move them out, having to sell off all kinds of things because it impacts us so much financially. And just being able to have that connection with my community, and now being able to help my community with that, and be able to figure out a way for it to have positive effects, because it should be a positive effect when your family member is able to live and die with you. You know, that's a part of your heritage. That's a part of who we are, being a part of this whole universe. You know, we're going back down to the cellular level, and the person's going back to the air. And that should be a beautiful thing instead of being a hard thing that becomes yet another struggle that we have. So that is